Let's stop and think, my people. In the heart of Africa, nestled between two rivers and surrounded by endless savanna, stood the village of Umukutu. It was a land where the earth pulsed with ancient stories, where drums spoke louder than voices, and the baobab trees whispered secrets to those who dared listen. Among all the baobabs, one stood taller and older than the rest, Obu Ikenga, the tree of power. The elders said it was planted by the gods when the first man took his first breath. No one dared cut its bark or climb its branches. Every moon cycle, the villagers laid calabashes of palm wine and kola nuts at its roots, and they believed the tree protected them. But one day, the whispers changed. It started with the goats. They began disappearing from their pens at night. Then the river dried halfway through the rainy season, a thing that had never happened in the memory of even the oldest elder, Pa Naji, who was over 100 and still walked like a man of 50. Soon, children began waking at night, screaming about a woman with ash for skin and fire for eyes. The villagers grew restless. The chief, Oba Ediki, summoned the village priest, Ogbufiuzo, to consult the spirits. The divination stones danced, the cowries turned their pale faces up, and the answer was chilling. The baobab is angry, Ogbufiuzo declared, his voice shaking. A secret buried beneath its roots has been disturbed. Something has awakened, but who would dare disturb the sacred tree? All eyes turned to Onyema, the village blacksmith, strong, proud, and cursed with curiosity. Onyema was a man of iron and questions, not of silence and submission. He had no fear of gods or ghosts, only truth. He had been seen near the baobab weeks before the troubles began, placing his ear to its bark. I heard crying, he said when accused. Not of spirits, but of a child. The villagers gasped. Lies, spat Oba Ediki, you seek to bring ruin on us all. Yet Onyema stood his ground. Let me dig, let me uncover the truth. If I lie, may the baobab strike me dead. The elders debated, argued, and finally agreed, reluctantly. A rope was tied to Onyema's waist. If he unearthed a curse, they would pull him back. If the gods struck him, they would bury what remained. That evening, as the sun bled across the sky, Onyema knelt before the baobab and began to dig. With every stroke of Onyema's iron blade, the air grew heavier, as if the baobab itself were holding its breath. The soil was dark and moist, rich with centuries of offerings. Then, a clang. His blade struck something hard. He dug faster, sweat pouring down his chest, ignoring the murmurs of the villagers who had gathered at a safe distance. Then he found it. A small wooden box, sealed with cowrie shells and tied with red and black thread. A hush fell. Ogbufiuzo shouted, "Do not open it." But Onyema was already lifting the lid. Inside lay a baby's bracelet made of lion teeth and coral, still glistening as if newly made. And beside it, a scroll, written in symbols that no one could understand, except Mama Adiku, the old blind woman who spoke in riddles and lived on the edge of the village. She hadn't spoken in years, yet when she heard of the scroll, she came, her feet bare, her white eyes shining. She took the scroll, held it to her nose, and whispered, "This is the confession of Queen Ijeoma, the woman who cursed this land." The name hit the villagers like thunder. Queen Ijeoma had ruled Umukutu over 100 years ago, long before the chiefs came. A warrior queen, fierce and wise. It was said she vanished without a trace after the night of the flames, when half the village burned in a mysterious fire. No one knew her fate, Mama Adiku murmured. Until now, she read the scroll aloud. It told of betrayal, of a forbidden child, born between the queen and a warrior from a rival tribe. A union of love that defied war. Fearing a coup, her council had taken the child, buried him alive beneath the baobab, and told the queen he had died in her womb. Ijeoma, upon learning the truth, cursed the land with her final breath and vanished into the fire. Onyema trembled. "We must find her remains," he said, his voice low. "Only then can the curse be broken." "But how?" someone cried. "Her body was never found." Mama Adiku turned her blind eyes to the baobab. "She never left. Her spirit remains. Beneath this tree lies not just the child, but the queen herself." A storm rolled in that night, as if the heavens were listening. The villagers scattered back to their homes, but Anyama stayed. He could not sleep, not with the queen's voice echoing in his ears. He returned to the Baobab, alone, guided only by the flicker of his oil lamp. Thunder cracked above, and the wind howled like a wounded spirit. He fell to his knees at the tree's roots. If you are truly here, Queen Ijeoma, show me where you rest. The lamp flickered violently, and then went out, but Anyama felt it, a pull. Like a heartbeat from the earth. He dug again, deeper than before. His fingers bled, mud clung to his elbows. But he kept going until his hand touched bone, and then a skull, adorned with a golden circlet shaped like a lion's mane. His breath caught. There she was, Queen Ijeoma. Her remains wrapped in faded royal cloth, her bones undisturbed, regal even in death. And next to her, a child's bones, curled beside hers as though she had held him in her final rest. Anyama wept. He gathered the remains carefully, wrapping them in white cloth. He knew what must be done. A royal burial, a ceremony to honor her and cleanse the curse. The next morning, the villagers awoke to the sound of drums. Boom. 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 It was the drum of mourning and rebirth. Anyama stood in the village square, the white cloth in his arms. Behind him, Mama Adiku raised her hands and shouted, "Today, we bury our shame. We honor truth. We silence the whispers." The whole village gathered. Even Oba Ediki stood with bowed head as the queen's bones were laid in the sacred shrine. The priest chanted, palm oil was poured, and 7 doves were released. As the sun reached its peak, a strange thing happened. The sky opened, not with rain, but with light. The baobab's leaves, long withered from drought, turned green before their eyes, and from its branches, a baby bird fell, alive, chirping, vibrant. Life had returned. Weeks passed. The river flowed again. The children slept peacefully. Goats returned to their pens. And Anyama, once mocked, was now revered. The chief, Oba Ediki, invited him to the council of elders. "You are no ordinary blacksmith," he said. "You are a truth seeker. And this village needs men like you." But Anyama refused. "I will serve Yumukutu in my own way," he said. "Not through power, but through purpose." He returned to his forge and began crafting not weapons, but bracelets of lion teeth and coral, a tribute to the fallen prince beneath the baobab. Each villager wore one as a reminder. Silence in the face of evil is a curse itself. In the baobab, it now stood taller than ever. Some swore they heard laughter in its leaves. Others claimed the queen's spirit appeared to them in dreams, whispering, "Thank you." But most remarkable of all was what happened next. A traveler came. A girl, no older than 16, with skin the color of honey and eyes like fire. She said she came from the north, following voices in the wind. She said her name was Ijeoma. The villagers gasped. Some feared, others bowed. But Mama Adiku only smiled. "The queen's blood lives on," she said. "Her spirit walks again, not as a ghost, but as a legacy." Anyama took the girl in, taught her the ways of iron, of fire, of truth. And soon, tales of the girl with fire eyes spread to neighboring lands. Years passed. Anyama grew old, his beard white as ash. But the forge never died. Nor did the stories. Children gathered under the baobab, where griots sang of Queen Ijeoma and the blacksmith who dared to dig. But the story was never complete. Because every time a traveler came, drawn by whispers in the wind, the tale grew. Some claimed the baobab held more secrets. Others believed the land still had debts to settle. But all agreed on one thing: truth sleeps lightly in Yumukutu. And the baobab watches, always. Thank you for watching Tales by Dan Sufia. More tales are coming your way, stay tuned.